Sexual sin is nothing more than a vision killer. It's nothing more than something that destroys your purpose, weakens your spirit. And every time you give in to your object of lust, into a naked picture, into another prawn video, whatever your object of lust is, the more you feed it, the stronger it will become. And it's more stronger than your desire to know God. See, your lust is stronger than your desire to know God, to have a relationship with God. Your heart is tempered with worldly lust. It's tempered with sexual sin. And that's stopping you from fulfilling your purpose in your life. It's stopping you from pursuing your goals. And when you notice, when you drain yourself, you don't have drive, you don't have hunger. You take away the vigor out of your soul. The drive, the hunger, the vigor that you need as a man to accomplish, to achieve, pursue, to build, to rule, to dominate, all of that is squashed by lust. Because you got to get to know the Lord, and you got to get to know His Word and be filled up with it every single day. Be filled with the Holy Spirit every single day. Because you cannot, and I mean you cannot, I repeat, you cannot overcome sexual sin with your own understanding. You can't do it your way, because you tried it your way and your way was not good enough. Your way did not work. Your own understanding of what sexual sin is, on what your pornography addiction is, your own understanding did not work. When you have the Most High on your side and you're building a connection with Him, and He knows that He knows your heart is in the right place, right? Because you want to overcome this, you want to beat this, you want to have dominion over this body. At the end of the day, you want to have self-control. You want to be more disciplined, right? You're putting in effort. See, it means more to the Lord that you're putting in effort to change. You're putting in effort to overcome. You're putting in effort to be a new creature, to transform yourself. And that's what He's looking for. Because when He sees your effort, He sees your heart too. Because you have the heart to put in the effort to change. That's what He's looking at. But when you're trying to do it your way, and you're trying to figure it out on your own, you can't overcome it. You may go a couple months without looking at the prawn, without jacking off, whatever, without fornicating, but you'll always go back to it. Because there's that voice of Satan will suggest what you've been fighting this whole time. And you'll be easily ensnared to listen to that voice, right? You'll give in to that voice, that temptation, because your spirit is not strong enough to combat it. You did not apply the word of Christ to your life. You did not equip yourself with the armor to combat the devil's tactics, his words of suggestion. Because you have the devil on one shoulder and you got God on the other shoulder. But see, one voice is more stronger than the other. Why? Because all the times you kept feeding your lust, It got stronger, it got stronger. And then you're no longer fighting your body. You're no longer being conscious of the wrong that you're doing and the filthiness that you're succumbing to, right? It gets to a point where your conscience becomes seared and you can't hear his voice. You can't hear the Holy Spirit or feel the Holy Spirit tugging at you to let you know this is wrong. You need to get up out of this before it's too late, right? And this takes a lot of time. This takes effort. You got to be putting in the effort to change, to get rid of that lustful spirit up out of you, because it is keeping you bound. And if you think it can't keep you bound, think again. Think again. Because you're repeating the same pattern of watching those websites, touching yourself. You know, your body, your flesh has now more power than your spirit. You're ruled by your own flesh. And that's never a good thing, to be ruled by your own flesh. So whatever your flesh desires, you're going to take heed to it. You're going to succumb to it. You're never going to ever question why you desire this so much. You're never going to question why you have a hunger and craving for this when you know it's not good for you. It's like with cake or, cookies or sugary, foods. You know it's not good for your body, but you still eat it and consume it anyway, right? And that voice is telling you, oh, have more of this, eat that. You know you're hungry and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Even though you're not really hungry, but it's that voice tempting you to pursue that sugary sweet, right? Because you've had it. You've had a habit of having this all the time. So you built up a tolerance to cookies, to sweets, to junk food. You build a tolerance, so you're easily going to be succumb to that temptation. When your body says, I want this particular unhealthy food, you'll listen to your body because that's what your body wants. But what your flesh wants is not good for your spirit. And the more times you give into the temptation of giving what your body wants, your spirit becomes weakened. And that's the consequence. That's one of the consequences. Your spirit becomes weakened. And you can't hear the voice of the Lord because your worldly desires, it's crowding, or not crowding, but it's clouding over the Holy Spirit. It's clouding over the voice of the Lord. And so in this walk, in this journey, you got to learn how to hear the voice of the Lord and yield to his voice, most importantly. And that's something that we all have to practice doing. Because at any time we get that temptation coming up in our mind, the enemy suggests something that's unhealthy for us, that's something that is not good for our spirit. If we're not strong in the spirit to combat it, then we're easily going to be ensnared by it. And then when you're easily ensnared, you're easily succumbed by lust, then your purpose will be further suppressed. And it's only going to hold you back further away from your purpose, holding you back further from the direction that you need to go in, that's toward your purpose, right? Toward the mission. And when lust has taken over completely, you know, you become pretty much a slave to it. You become a slave to the prawn, a slave to jacking off, to sexual sin. And once you're bound, you're a slave to it. You can't go a day, you can't go a week without answering the call to your fleshly desires, right? We all have to learn how to fight our own body. Because this vessel that we have, we got to take care of it, make sure it's pure and clean. But it takes work to get to that point, because we have spent years defiling this vessel through lust, right? So I'm really making this message, man, to, you know, bring attention to the issue, to the, you know, revolving problem around lust, because it's a vision killer. It's a purpose destroyer. And you keep feeding it, the stronger it will become. And so with that being said, thank you all for watching. Subscribe for more content. And this is Warrior for Christ. I'm out, and salute.